Hello guys, this is Jatin Shrivastava. Here I am with a new video set on readability analysis, that is passive voice to active voice conversion. Why it is necessary, what is passive voice, what is active voice, all of those things we are going to cover in this presentation. So let's get started. So initially let's get the definition clear from the very first step that we take into this presentation. So what is active voice? So in a sentence, so when we talk about a sentence, we have a subject who is doing something. Okay, like Gary played the guitar. Gary is the subject who is doing something. What he is doing is the object to which something is done, that is the receiver. So Gary played the guitar. Guitar is the object. Okay, subject is something who is doing something, to which something is done is the object. So let's take an example here. Gary played the guitar. Now this is in its active voice. Okay, a direct form you can say. Active voice, Gary is the subject and guitar is the object. Okay, and then when we talk about its passive form, so it is kind of saying it indirectly and placing the object before the subject. Okay, the guitar was played by Gary. You need to put this thing into your mind that in active form, subject comes first followed by object, but in its passive form, object comes first then followed by its active counterpart. So these are the two minor things that will help us in the coming presentation to basically convert the passive voice into active. Okay, and why it is necessary to convert, we will explore in the upcoming slides. So then we have why to avoid passive voice. Well, passive voice is also a sentence, so why to avoid it? Why Yoast plugin says you cannot put so many passive voices in a sentence. Okay, so let's understand this. It takes more work. For example, Gary played the guitar. It is of 4 words, and when we say its passive counterpart, it is of 6 words. So clearly it takes more words. If it takes more words, then it sometimes becomes harder to understand. Or you can say, yeah, so here's the second point, it is harder to understand. We can say directly that Gary played the guitar instead of saying it indirectly, the guitar was played by Gary. Okay, that is why Yoast Readability Analysis says you must put emphasis on using active voices in your sentence rather than passive voices. But there are some exceptions as well, where passive voice played a vital role than the active counterpart. So let's understand those exceptions here. When the focus on the object. Okay, so let's read the sentence. The tender was approved by the committee. Now tender is the object to which something is done. Was approved by the committee. Who do something is the object. So here the emphasis was on tender. So hence the tender placing first makes more sense rather than the committee approved the tender. So the thing where the emphasis is put on must come first. Okay, so that is why in some cases when the focus is on the object, the passive voice works best. Another thing is here when there is no subject. So when there is no subject, there is no sense of placing or creating imaginary subject and placing it first. For example, my car was stolen on yesterday. So my car was stolen on yesterday, where car is the object and there is no subject. And if we try to put a subject, so here what it looks like, someone stole my car yesterday. Now this is making the sentence harder to understand and increasing the word count as well. So in these two cases, the passive voice works best. So Yoast also say this, that you can use 10% of your total word as passive voice, not more than that. Okay. Now it's Yoast is also a set of commands and codes written by a human. So in some cases you can do it, let's say 12% or 13%, but in most of the cases it says that 10% of your total sentence word should be active. should not be passive. Okay. Then importance of passive to active conversion. Importance can be well understood from the earlier slides as well. That is, it increases the reader user understandability. If there are less words taken and it is in its direct form, then it is easier to understand. Incorrect detection by crawler and search engines. So what generally happens, crawlers are also some kind of codes written by humans, and those codes cannot understand the complex sentences, and hence it put a wrong impression on the respective search engine, and that is why the search engine do not pull up your website post among the other website on its search engine result page. Hence, use active voice rather than its passive counterpart. Okay, so in the next slide we will basically discuss how to convert the passive voice into active. Some of these steps are here. Majorly there are 4 steps. That is, when you have a sentence, locate its subject. Once you have the subject, locate its object. Then switch them around or twist them around. While twisting or switching, you must change the verb form. Let's take an example to better understand this. Okay. So we have a sentence that says, a book is bought by me. So when this step 1 come into consideration, we figured it out that me here is the subject. So this is the subject, and locate your object. So book is the object. So before switching them around, the verb need to change. The verb here is bought. So verb is something that we do. Okay. So its active counterpart says, I buy a book. So where I is the subject now comes first, buy the verb changes, and book is the object that comes second. Okay, so this is its active counterpart. So there are other conversions as well. So you can get a clear image of this from the article or over the website. So this is how basically you need to convert the passive voice into its active counterpart. So as simple as that. Focus on active and rather than focusing on its passive counterpart. Thank you so much. Namaste.